Guys, I want to show you something. I'm gonna pan around here, and right here on this same farm is this old house. This is the Old Dail house. I want to introduce you to my sister right here. This is Lynn. Hey, Lynn.
Hey, everybody.
And I'm gonna let her tell you a little bit about the house.
Waking up this morning, waking up before it's getting night.
As I was turning off the camera, I happened to think of something. And I'm gonna tell you this quick little story. I'm gonna come down these steps. Daddy rented this house out for a lot of years, and it was back before 62 because, 64, because those houses were built in 64. I believe it was probably 63 and maybe 62. We lived about a quarter of a mile down from this hill. And Mama was in the kitchen. Mama was in the kitchen cooking. And she was cooking fried chicken. And boy, my mama had some good fried chicken and biscuits. But anyway, so I come in there, I was hungry. So I wanted to get a piece of chicken. And Mama said I could not have it till supper time. And but that made me just as mad as fire. So I got my stuff together and I left the house and I come up this road right up here and I was running away from home. Now, I didn't carry a thing with me, but I was running away from home. But like I say, Daddy rented this house out. And so when I walked up this road a quarter of a mile and I was 5 years old, I came up here. Now, right here, it had a lot of support structures here. Had a big old pack house and barn. Matter of fact, the building that I showed you, I called a hayloft there at Pickett Pond Chicken Farm. It was sitting right there. We ended up picking it up, moving it, and carrying it down there where it's by the pond now. There was another pack house right here. Well, I come up here, and this family had about 5 or 6 youngins on it, and they were all standing on the porch there. And they said, "What are you doing up here?" I said, "I'm running away from home." They said, "What?" See, I'm running away from home. So anyway, they said, "Well, we'll put you up." So, like I said, there's a pack house sitting there, probably right about here where this mowed grass is. And so they let me get over there in that pack house, fix me up a little cot there, you know, and blankets and pillows and all. And so I was gonna spend the night. And so, but I had the door shut. I was inside the pack house, and they must have called my daddy. So Daddy come up here, and I was right here. I was standing right along here, inside the pack house. The pack house door was closed, but I could see cracks, you know. And I could see my daddy pull up in the pickup truck right past where mine is, pulled right up there to the steps. And about 5 or 6 of the youngins in there, but they were all probably my age or older, most of them. And I saw every one of them just point right over there, like pointing straight at me. I said, "Oh God." And Paulette looked over here, and here he come, backed up, and come over here. And I still had the door shut. And he said, "Come on, Bug." He called me Bug. And so I opened the door, had my head hung down, you know, I come out. He told me to get in, so I got in, and he didn't want to know what I was doing. I said, "I was running away from home." He said, "What you running away from home for?" I said, "Mom wouldn't let me have no chicken." And he said, "Well, let me tell you one thing." He said, "If you ever run away from home again, I'm gonna skin your ass." And he said, "You understand what I'm telling you?" I said, "Yes, sir." Because trust me, it got skint many times. And so anyway, I did not get a whipping that day, I remember, but I never ran away from home again. So that's kind of a little story that's interesting, and the house is super interesting. You know, chimney there for the cooking area, chimney there to heat the living room, chimneys there that could catch on probably up there to the upstairs and downstairs Probably could have been a chimney on the other side that might have fell down. I don't know, but whether there was or wasn't. But like I said, this house is over 100 years old. Before I was born. I wasn't born till 1957. And I think this house was built during the Civil War. But anyway, I'll get back to what I was planning on doing. I'll let my sister Lynn get here and she can add a little bit more to it. See you in a little bit.
Little too much love and comfort, hanging with my friends, all playing games. We all started out a full house, ended up just me and good old James. I could have swore that I was winning, kinda had a feeling.
So Lynn, when was the house built, you think?
It's my understanding that the house was started before the Civil War, and the Civil War started in 1861, but wasn't finished until after the Civil War. It was a fine house, but modest compared to some of the big antebellum homes. It does follow the Greek Revival style, very symmetrical. From what I can tell, this part right here, the main part of the house, was built first, and it would have had a detached kitchen, and later, probably around the 1890s or so, they added on the back, because the architecture is a little different in the back than it is the front. So there was a family of, I think, 9 that lived in the house, and we know from the census that they were here in the 1850s and 1860s. So then that would be our great-grandfather, and then our grandfather grew up in this house, and after that it eventually became what it is today, more of a tenant house, which obviously nobody's living in it now, but we can go inside and see the architecture.
All right, guys, I'm gonna just so you can look. Do you see any resemblance? Maybe a little bit, hopefully. Okay, so we're gonna come up here, and you see the foundation is fell down underneath it and letting this part of it sag a little bit. And you know, when this house was built, there was no electricity, but the electricity came through years later, and I'd have to get a little thought to kind of tell you when that might have been, but we'll step right in here. And first thing you'll notice how low the ceiling is, but this is supposed to be an insulated drop ceiling. Me and my brother put that in here. We'll be using the house for some tenant farmers living in it, and but it's plaster walls. And this back section Lynn was talking about being the kitchen and all. Small, modest kitchen. Like I say, this electrical work was not here when the house was built. Of course, that sink and all, that came after. This was a little pantry area they built with the kitchen. Place they could store the canned goods. When I say canned goods, I always thought all the canned goods came in a can, but actually canned goods started out being in glass jars, because canning wasn't a thing back then. All right, so the back was the kitchen there. This might have been the dining room area and the living room area here, I guess. And then we'll step on through the house just a minute. Look at these old doors here.
That's an unusual door. It's hung upside down. Unfortunately, it's happened over the years. But this 3-panel over 3-panel is something I've not seen in other architecture, so I find that very interesting. You see it better back there, but it just hung upside down.
All right, we'll step on in here, and some more of the drop ceiling here. This was obviously adding that on here for we use for some help to work on the farm. But you can, after we get in here, we lose the false ceiling, and show more of the original part of the house. These ceilings will be how high, Lynn? Probably 11 feet? 12 feet, maybe not 12, maybe 11?
No, I think at least 12, I think.
All right.
They're 12, and then you see the wood ceilings up here. And in the mantles are simple, but what's amazing is all of this is original.
All this original stuff and back from being built. Lynn thought the house was started before the Civil War, and I think the Civil War was started in 1861 and carried on to 1864 or 5 or something like that. And so all this stuff is fairly old.
And it's all plaster.
Yeah, I want to show you this plaster work right here.
And these are hand split. There was no machinery back then, so they were hand split laths, and then the plaster went on top of the lathe.
And what this is, of course, most people know it, but some of you don't. But these are the studs in the walls here, and probably put every 2 foot apart. And then they tacked up these little wood slats right here. And see, they're not flush and straight. That right there comes out probably ½ an inch above that one. But anyway, they smear it over with the plaster, and the plaster oozes in these little holes here, these cracks, and it pushes through, and that's what binds it and holds it, because this part is still attached to this part, and they smear it off and get it level as they wanted to get it, and that's what they used back in those days. Now, the reason this paneling's up, because all the chairs and all through the use of the house over the last 100 and some years, I mean, your lower part, the furniture gets beat all to death. So when I came in it, going to use it as a tenant house, the bottom was just beat all to pieces. So I put this up this high just to get high enough to cover up a lot of this right here. But like I say, here's look at this area right here underneath the stairs. Little storage area they had. And this another bedroom here. And most every room had a fireplace. I mean, that's the only means they had to keep warm. And what year you think, Lynn, the electrical would have came through? Maybe in the 1930s?
I'm not sure. The house I'm in was built in 1853, and somebody told me that it had one of the first electric chandeliers in the front room, but I don't know if that was after it was built or what.
Lynn, the house you're living in, it was built when?
1853.
1853. So this would have been built some little bit after Lynn's house.
But you see how nice this is, like, compared to the back part. That's why I think it was built.
A little more formal looking, you're saying? Okay. These are the original stairs.
And it's pretty solid.
Yeah, look at this handrail. What would you think this handrail was made out of, Lynn? Because I'm seeing some dark wood under this coat of paint here. Would that be mahogany or something like that? Or?
I doubt it.
I doubt it, not in this area.
It might have been, but most of the wood in these houses would have been heart pine.
Heart pine, okay.
And the reason they have withstood the time, the heart pine is very hard. It had the lines, they're old pines that they don't have a lot of sap in them, therefore the termites don't eat them.
Window covered up here. I particularly like this room right here. It's a lot longer, bigger, and I like the way they went with the roof line right here to kind of maximize the room size, but lowered the ceiling height on the edges. Look right here. This is the attic storage area here, and look at the electrical wires brought in here with the insulators, the white insulators on them. I mean, it looks like a fire hazard, but it's been here.
That would have been early 1900s, I think.
Early 1900s, put the electrical wiring in. Okay.
Shine it back up here. Look how wide those boards are.
Yep.
And if you can see, this looks like the original cedar shakes.
Okay, they just put tin on top of it.
And look how this is such an irregular board.
Yep.
They just didn't.
Well, it was just used for sheeting. It would never be seen, so they didn't have to.
Everything by hand back
Didn't
then.
have to square it up. I'm gonna look on this other side right here a little bit. And pretty much the same. Electrical wiring there. How to ran it up through the hole there. And I really am curious. I don't want to fall through the floor, but I'm curious. Oh, I'm curious, is this right here coated? And it is. It's got some kind of coating on this wiring right here.
Uh-huh.
But you see on the back side of these slats, a good view right here, how it squeezed through and drooped down, you know, then that helped hold it in place. But that's what plaster walls look like on the back side. How about that? That's pretty interesting. Mm-hmm. All right, I'm back out of here. Okay, we're gonna make our way back down and there was a soft floor right there, wasn't it? And these steps are cut real short here, you know, they don't have a lot of length to them because my foot right here, you know, look how much it hangs off, and I got my heel all the way into the back, so. And coming down, and my head right here, you know, you're gonna have to duck this right here just to get in a little bit, but they maximized the area and all the best they could, I guess.
I would imagine the girls slept on one side and the guys slept on the other side.
Let's go on the front porch.
And then the parents probably slept in one of the rooms down here. I had to guess.
All right. Well, this road right here, it actually used to be the main road between Kenansville and Beulahville. It was.
Didn't even go through Beulahville. It went to Hallsville.
We went to Hallsville, didn't it? But it's just as curvy. My daddy said it was curvy as a black snake, but it'd come up there and take a left, cross the existing 24, go down, come back over and cross again, and then back in the early 1900s, they built Highway 24, and they just made a straight shot through the S-curve, all the S-curves, and made it more straight, direct right to Beulahville. And these old trees here, there used to be a great old big oak tree right there. I remember that probably 40 years ago or more. Died and fell down, I guess.
But they put the houses closer to the road so they could use more of the fields for planting.
Right.
So they didn't have long driveways up to the house and all that. It was.
And keep in mind, the road now was dirt for most of its life.
Right.
I mean, I remember when this road was paved. I remember when it was a dirt road. So there was hardly no traffic, and what traffic you got up and down it was a horse and cart, you know. You wanted to speak to your people traveling by and say, hey, whatever, but yeah. All right, well, I'm gonna walk around and just show you the outside of it a little bit. The tin roof.
But it wasn't always tin.
Wasn't always tin. Like I say, we saw inside evidence of it had the wood shake shingles on it, and tin was put on afterward to cover, and just covered them up, didn't take them off. All right, it's kind of grown up out here. I'll just step around here just a minute, show you the back side. Chimney on down there, trees growing out around it. And, you know, like a lot of these old houses, you know, where they were off the ground pretty good because they had a little cellar area in the middle where, you know, I remember when I was a child, you'd dig the potatoes and throw the potatoes under the house, not this house, but other houses that we had on the farm, and just get a cool place to store them, you know. And we had potatoes all year long from throwing potatoes into what we call the cellar.
Yeah, there's a little opening right there for it.
Yep, and there's a little square opening right there. And it's cement and it's bricked around to create that cellar. You know, these things will soon be gone, and the fewer of them that are around, the more valuable or the more interesting they become. I mean, it's part of the history here on the farm that, you know, I know a little bit about, but don't know much about. But it has been here obviously all my life, and don't know how much longer it will be here, but until somebody makes the effort and want to tear it down, and I can't imagine why they would do that unless we're going to build another house here. It'll be here a long time. Huh. So there you go. All right, so that's the Old Dail house. And so me and Lynn's going to say farewell for now. Appreciate you watching, and we'll see you on the next video.